I've lost my house, I lost my dog, I lost my job, my pension won't give me my money. Well, 33 months ago, I went to renew my Florida driver's license, which is, they have the new ID law, and it's required to have a birth certificate.
So what is a real ID? Following the 9/11 attacks, the federal government set new security standards to obtain a state-issued driver's license and ID card. Some states began issuing them more than a decade ago. But the standards will soon be enforced for people in all 50 U.S. states, territories, and D.C.
So I go down to the DMV. They tell me I need a birth certificate, so I says, for what? She says, you do. So anyway, it took me 3 months to go through Vital Check for them to issue me the birth certificate. Well, New York says that they deny me my birth certificate because my birth certificate is Eduardo, which is Spanish for Edward. But since I was a kid, when I got my Social Security card and joined the Navy 12 years in Vietnam, I've always been Edward. So New York refuses to correct it because the ID that I have is expired because I don't have a birth certificate, so I'm in a catch-22.
As she explained, when you have no documents to your name, the arduous process of getting an ID in Nevada begins primarily by retrieving a printed copy of your birth certificate from your home state, which, just a request, from the state of Tennessee, for example, where the woman we interviewed was born, requires a photocopy of a government-issued ID card to verify to the records office that it's really you asking for your own birth certificate. And if you have no way to prove it, you can't get it. However, there is a service called Vital Check that allows you to circumnavigate the verification process, but it requires a physical mailing address and a $45 credit card deposit.
I've always been Edward. I paid in Edward. People ask me, why don't you get the Eduardo birth certificate? I said, if they gave it to me, it'd be useless because Eduardo never did anything. You know, I'm Edward. It's my Social Security, it's my birth, but I was never Eduardo. I mean, growing up in the Bronx back in the 60s, you know, and I joined the Navy, Eduardo, you know, there was a lot of racism when I was growing up. I mean, I even remember, not in the city, I didn't even know about racism growing up in the Bronx. I didn't even know what racism was until I joined the Navy. And I go to Albany, Georgia, one of my first naval stations, and I go to the courthouse and there's a sink over there and it says blacks, and there's an arrow pointing to the back of the courthouse, and whites. So I go drink water, and this big redneck comes up to me and he goes, yo, you know, there ain't no niggers allowed to drink water out of that. I says, I'm not a nigger, I'm Puerto Rican. He said, well, goddamn it, that's worse than the damn nigger. I said, okay, welcome to the South. But anyway, here I am. I've lost my house, I lost my dog, I lost my job. I got Social Security won't give me my money, my 401k won't give me my money, my pension won't give me my money. I'm out here sleeping in the woods over there. I got bit by a freaking iguana the other day. I can't eat. I have to be careful what I eat because what happens is when you're homeless, and if you know, it's not like you all living the good life. I did too, believe me. I lived the good life for 68 years. But if I eat something and I got to take a shit, you know, and do you see any toilets out here? I mean, God forbid I shit my pants, excuse the expression, but I've had these pants and these boots for 33 months. This is the only pair of pants I have. My backpack, all it has is all my documents and one other pair of socks and a blue t-shirt, and somebody gave me a black hoodie because it's really cold. I mean, I'd rather take the cold because there's no mosquitoes. But out here in the woods, the mosquitoes and the fire ants and the no-see-ums, and it's like, I'm too old for this. You know, I don't deserve this. I have 3 sons, I have 3 daughters, I have 12 grandkids. People ask me, well, why don't you reach out to the family? It's like, no, I don't want them to lose any sleep. Supposedly this was going to take me 30 days, the DMV said. And here it is, 33 months later. I got a congressman down here at District 8, Congressman Brian Donald, and he's helped me out get my service record. Well, his staff has. I haven't spoken to him personally because he's a politician, but you know, his staff cares, you know, because you know they're doing stuff for the veterans. Oh, don't even get me started on homeless shelters and the churches. It's all, these churches, they get donations, and we're in one of the richest counties in the country, this Collier County, Naples. And I mean, these guys, they get donations and clothes, new clothes, and in the back room, they're taking and separating all these clothes, and then they're opening up a thrift store, and you know, and it's all tax-free. You know, I don't want to sound like conspiracy theory. You go to the Mission, you know, they get all this food donated, beautiful food they get donated, but then they'll sell that food on the side or keep it for themselves, and then they're giving us beans and cornbread, you know. But I can see the people coming in their cars unloading food and steaks, you know. No, that doesn't go to the homeless. Then in the homeless shelter, it's really bad. And a lot of homeless people, and I, you know, and I've been one for 33 months. We'd rather sleep out in the woods, or because the homeless shelter, you have to sleep with one eye closed, because God forbid if they knew I had a cell phone, you know, they'll even rob me from my sanitizer. It's bad, it's bad. And I live here within about 2 miles, and the reason I stay here in Bonita is because I've had a footprint here within a half a mile of here for the past 23 years. So I know every nook and cranny, so I know I'm safe here. I mean, I can go to sleep right now behind these shrubs. Nobody's gonna bother me. If I'm hungry, I can walk in there into that gas station right there, racetrack, and those kids and the managers and stuff like that, they'll ask me if I'm hungry. I've lost a lot of weight because I can't eat healthy. I've lost 3 perfectly good teeth. But the thing about the teeth, they're in perfectly good shape. But I guess I got gum disease. I try to brush, but it's not easy out here. Last night, I'm coming out of my camp up there, and I stepped in a puddle of water, and my boots filled up with water, and my boots have never, I've had these for 33 months. These boots have never stunk. Now it's like I don't even want to be related to these boots anymore. It's like I want my boots to go walk away because the stench. Now I smell like a homeless person. Before I didn't. So anyway, things are, I have appointments. Trying to get the birth certificate corrected it's a catch-22. Every time I call, they read off this, the receptionist, they read off the same script. They tell me, well, you need to do this. I said, I did that. And then I try to explain everything, and then they get annoyed. At DMV, the lady asked me, do you have another ID? I says, yeah. So I pulled out my concealed weapons permit, and she asked me to leave the building. I says, ma'am, all I have is the ID. I don't have my concealed weapon with me. I'm homeless. I don't need to be carrying a concealed weapon. But she got freaked out. She asked the sheriff if he can escort me out of the building. So it's, you know, they look down at us homeless people just because of my situation with the birth certificate. A lot of people love being homeless. I mean, they're professionals. I mean, they don't want to be anywhere else because they can't deal and they don't want to deal with people. Me personally, this is a government thing. This is the state of New York, and those guys with the rags on their heads that crashed into those 2 buildings in New York City. That's my problem because of that. And then now all of a sudden we have to have real ID and birth certificates for Social Security. You know, if I would have retired, you know, actually that law didn't come in here in 2013 is when the real ID came in. So if I would have retired in 2013, this would have been all good, you know. So anyway, I'm just live day by day. You know, I ask God every day, thank you for the wake-up call. I always felt God in my heart. I felt Jesus in my heart, even before this. I'm not really a churchgoer. I mean, grew up Catholic, but the incense burned my nose, and I kind of like this one Baptist church, but I haven't been there in years. I've been married 4 times. I got 3 boys, 3 girls, 12 grandkids. They all live in Texas. They all ask me, they don't ask me, because I told my ex-wife, don't you tell the kids what I'm going through because I don't want them losing any sleep. And if they could help me financially, I can't even get Western Union because I need a valid ID to get Western Union. I need a valid ID to buy beer at the Walgreens. I need valid ID you know, you need a valid ID for anything, you know? I mean, try going somewhere without a valid ID. Can you fly, get on a plane? Can you get on a bus? Can you get on a train? You know? Can you buy a car? Can you open up a bank account? Without a valid ID, you ain't nobody. And here, the freaking border's wide open. They're giving them everything they want. Whatever you want. I went to Goodwill yesterday to get a pair of socks because my boots got wet. And there's a migrant family in front of me, and they don't understand. I speak Spanish. Just because I got blue eyes, they don't think I can speak Spanish. So she's telling her, the lady's giving her a lift of clothes that she needs for her and her kids. There's no husband because the husband's working, but she's pretending he's in Mexico and I'm living here by myself. Because I understand Spanish and I speak it fluently. So then she's telling her all the clothes, and the lady's telling the other lady to make the packages and stuff. And then I says, can I get a pair of socks? And then she tells me, you need a voucher from the Salvation Army. And I says, I need a voucher for the Salvation Army to get a pair of socks? I says, this is Goodwill. People donate this stuff to you. She says, well, that's the thing. And I says, and then I went in my full Spanish mode. And then I told her, oye, pero tú le das a la señora aquí que tú no conoces, que ella puede coger cualquier ropa que necesita, y comida, y hasta el carro. They pay for a lot of those migrants down here that have family, these churches and stuff, they give them caravans, those little Dodge caravans. You go to the Catholic Mission on Sunday, there's like 30 freaking caravans with migrants in them, all lined up. And they're loading boxes of frozen chicken, steak, vegetables, loading their vans up. You know, I go over there, I asked the lady one day, I says, do you have any bread and cheese? I would be happy, or crackers and cheese. And she says, we only serve food on Sunday. But I know there's food in there. You know, they look down at us. I went to the Cafe of Life. I wanted to get a t-shirt. The guy told me, we don't give clothes out. We give clothes out on Thursday. What was going on, and I did a dissertation on the cafe website, Cafe of Life. You guys can check it out and check my comment. My name's in there, bugkiller7803 Gmail. I did a dissertation on there where they begged me to take the comment off because it was hurting their donorship. But what it is, that day that I was there, all their donors were there, and they didn't want the dirty old homeless guy, you know, because they want those crying little Mexican, Salvadorian babies, you know, to eat at the rich people's hearts. Oh, look at that little baby. And then they see, and then they look at the homeless guy. Well, that's kind of like the scourge of America, you know. He wants to be homeless. You know, they don't know crap about me, you know. 12 years in the Navy. I worked for this company, a pest control company, right here for 23 years. I was ready to retire until my driver's license happened. I can't get nothing. You know, I went to Farillo LaGuardia High School in New York, which is the New York School of Performing Arts. And I ended up going to Vietnam, but I wanted to be a journalist when I joined the Navy, because I went to Farillo. And I was a pretty good dancer, but I was more like, I hate to say it, but I did ballet. And but I wanted to be a comedian, and then when I joined the Navy, I wanted to be a journalist. So the recruiter told me, yeah, man, we get you, yeah, we have a, I joined the Navy, they laughed at me. We don't have journalists, that's a civilian job. You know, we don't have journalists in the Navy. So I ended up fueling aircrafts on aircraft carriers, which turned out to be a good thing because I got to learn, and I've worked for Lockheed for many of years after I got out of Vietnam at a private company, Lockheed Martin, running fuel farms. I worked at 28 different airports in this country. Anytime they'd open up a new airport, I was there to calibrate the machine to fuel the airplanes. So it was great, you know. So, but anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
All right, I hope.
All right.
You're gonna get a Pulitzer.
It's really. I mean.
Where are you gonna post that at? I'd like
to... All right.
Edward Serrano, Serrano, like the pepper.
All right,
but
thank you.
I'm not as spicy. Just kidding.